Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
Yeah, so sometimes it's difficult to find clips to react to because I'm not aware of everything. And, between this, the Browns, it's hard to find clips. This clip was not hard to find. I got sent this clip like 3 different times by 3 different people to react to. This is from I believe it's called the Panel podcast. Players Choice YouTube channel, and the Panel, I guess, is the name of the podcast. If I could give one piece of advice to myself and other online creators in sports, I would say this. We need to make a better effort to bring back better descriptions in YouTube videos and in YouTube pages and wherever you would have a bio, because I do not know who any of these people are, what to address these people by, and what their names are on this pod clip, right? I've seen them float around a ton on social media. Like, I think I've reacted to a clip from this pod on TikTok before, but I do not know who is who, which makes reacting to it a little bit more difficult, or just talking about it a little bit more difficult. So I would just love a description. Hey, the Panel podcast, where this guy all meet to regularly talk about what's going on. Just something like that, man. Let's get something like that going to make it just a little bit easier to recommend, or, just talk about your channel or talk about your pod. And again, I'm guilty of this. I've done this plenty of times where I'm like, people know. And then somebody new to the channel is just left in the blinders. But my old man rant aside, let's react to this clip. A lot of people wanted me to react to it. Let's see what's up.
I think Cleveland's ceiling this year, I think, is the East Finals. I think that's as far as they go, which is
ceiling.
I think that's their ceiling.
That's their ceiling. The best they could do.
Yeah, I think the best they can do is win a championship.
Insanity. That is
why is that insanity?
That's how I know. That's pure bias. That's pure Celtics bias. Their ceiling. They've been, so just to be clear,
please
ceiling is your maximum potential. Yes. Their maximum is they have been the best team in the NBA
in the regular season
this year. They've been the best team in the East the entire season.
That's a really high ceiling.
No, hold on. Let me just finish.
I mean, it depends. I mean, if I say the 2017 Warriors ceiling is the conference finals,
yeah, they've been the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it's all relative, is what I'm saying.
Between them and the Boston Celtics all year, their ceiling is making it to the finals and winning. Based on how well they're performing, they have been better than the Boston Celtics all.
So, is what he's saying is that the Cavs will not, there's a difference between saying you don't think the Cavs could beat Boston in a 7-game series versus it's not possible for the Cavs to beat Boston. Their ceiling is Boston, right? And I don't know if that's what he's meaning to say, but that's what he said, right? Like, the intent might not have been there, but that's what he said, is the Cavs ceiling is the Eastern Conference Finals, basically saying the Cavs cannot get past Boston, which I do think is a completely different thing than saying you don't think the Cavs could get past Boston, right? Which is why I think the reaction is to this comment. But let's hope that he replies to this.
That's 100% facts. The question is,
no, they haven't.
Can they yes, they no,
they haven't.
I want to be clear about this, Joe. They have quite literally been better by a margin than the Celtics this year, the entire season. The question is, can they transfer regular season dominance to a playoff setting like the Boston Celtics? We believe that they can and will, is the question. Cleveland, they can absolutely win a title. Again, Joe, you got to understand this. Like, as somebody who has to track this stuff every single week, almost damn near every single day, the Cleveland Cavaliers are right behind. The OKC has a plus 12.6 net rating this year. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a plus 11.3. Don't get me, that's higher than the Celtics last year. They're dominating the regular season at a higher pace than the Celtics did last season. So I think that's just wholly unfair for Celtics.
That is a great point, right? Because, again, I have my issues with how Boston is being treated like a dynasty when they've won one champion. This only really happens when Boston wins a championship, right? Like in 2008, they did it with the big three. You would swear they won like 4 championships the way they talk about it. And then after this championship, it's been like, oh, Boston's unstoppable. The reign of Boston is in. It's like, don't you usually have to get to 2 to get to that point? And the Cavs have had regular season success, as the guy who's just talking in the brown hat just said, the tan hat, my bad. The Cavs have a better net offensive rating than what Boston was doing last year. Like, you can argue that the Cavs this year are a better team than Boston. They have a better record than I believe Boston had at this point last year. So why are we acting like Boston is invincible, especially with the existence of 2 teams that arguably are doing things that are more impressive than what Boston did the year that they broke through and won the championship?
Celtics fans and for Celtics
with that,
supporters,
and with everything that
they cannot win the title this year.
With everything that you just said, and how much better they've been than the Celtics as a whole, however they've been. In order for them to get to the NBA championship, where does that road go through? That road goes through a team that's better.
It's not impossible though.
I didn't say it was impossible.
But if you say
he did though,
no, but
he did say it was again. If you say a team ceiling is like you're saying, if you can't. You're saying that the team ceiling is Boston. So you're saying they can't get past Boston. I don't know how this is confusing, right? Saying that you don't think they will beat Boston and can't beat Boston, 2 different things, completely different things.
Ceiling is the highest you can go.
Okay, so
if you say the best they can do is the conference finals, you're saying there is no way they can get out the East. That's what you're saying.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because I don't think that they can get past the Boston Celtics.
Which means you think there's no chance they have to beat Boston.
I don't think that they can beat Boston 4 times.
So
in a
the
week.
Celtics,
no, I don't.
Yeah, but that's why
I think that's
saying they have 0 chance to beat Boston.
That's why I think that's their ceiling, 100%. Not because
that's not a ceiling.
That's
to him, it's the ceiling, Swipe.
Yeah,
No, don't do this. We cannot change the definition. We cannot change the definition of previously agreed upon language just when it's convenient for somebody's argument. If you don't mean ceiling, then just don't say ceiling. It is so simple. It is so simple. We do this all the time on the internet, where we just decide to change the definition of shit to be convenient to the speaker. But that leads to a bunch of people just not knowing what shit means anymore. And then nobody can have a civil conversation because everybody mean different shit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they disagree, and I don't want to because we're talking about the Pistons. But I want to, in that same breath, does that mean
that's a real floor?
Yeah, they disagree, and I don't want to because we're talking about the Pistons. But I want to, in that same breath, does that mean you think Boston's floor is making it to the finals?
Yes, I do. Because they were because they were.
That's crazy.
Because they were. Why is that insane? They were.
You're the worst version of yourself. The worst version of the Boston Celtics is getting steamrolled by the Detroit Pistons. That's their worst version. The worst.
When I tell you, Boston fans are a different level of arrogant after winning one title than any other fan base on earth. And the thing is, the problem isn't because whenever you win a championship, I remember when the Cavs won the championship in 2016, I was arrogant about 2017. Cavs beat KD and the Warriors on Christmas. I was like, I ain't even worried about no KD anymore. KD swiped us up in 5 games, man. So you are a different level of arrogance after your team wins that tie. I get it. But the problem I have isn't with Boston fans being arrogant, because Boston fans are already Boston fans. We already know how Boston sports fans get down. But also, it's this stuff gets. The bigger problem to me is that then you turn on ESPN, then you turn on Fox Sports, and these giant outlets that are supposed to promote the game, Turner too does it, they embolden this nonsense, right? which is Boston is inevitable. Boston is unstoppable. Boston is the new dynasty. And part of it is a thirst because NBA broadcasters and people who talk about the game on a national TV level understand that the NBA is a more appealing product to casual fans when there is a boogeyman, a legitimate boogeyman that people get to see get toppled, right? That is the marketing strategy that a lot of the NBA broadcast partners feel like is most successful about talking about the NBA. And sometimes what happens is that there's no boogeyman. This thing's a lot more open than they would like it to be. In those years, viewership in the playoff usually goes down because there's no storyline or no narrative to sell throughout the whole playoffs, right? When it's KD and the Warriors, who's going to take them out? That's the narrative. When it's LeBron and the Miami Heat, who's going to take them out? That's the narrative. When it's LeBron with the Cavs, are they going to get through? Is LeBron going to win another ring? That's the narrative. There are these long-lasting narratives that you can have because there's a boogeyman. There's a team that's dominating you. You want to see them be toppled. Or there's a player that you want to see get a ring. The way that the NBA media apparatus has chosen to promote this season has been by making Boston the boogeyman. But I believe their boogeyman status is straight up premature. I think it's very premature to cast Boston as this boogeyman. And you see it in conversations where like a Boston fan will talk, and I'm assuming that he's a Boston fan because they said he was a Boston fan in this podcast. And they're telling us that they think that their team is so damn good, despite having the third best record in the NBA, 2 other teams have better records than them, that they can't fathom a world where they don't make it back to the NBA Finals. Now, I know teams that were automatic locks to get to the NBA Finals. What, like you think of like LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love teams. You think of the Miami Heat, Bron teams, and the KD Warriors. Those were teams. It was inevitable that they were going to make it to the finals. This Celtics team is good. They're not KD Warriors good. They're not 2016 Cavs good. They're not, peak Bron Heat good. Like, they don't have that level of dominant player. Like, when KD was on the Warriors, he was one of the most dominant scorers in all of basketball, not named LeBron James. And obviously, when LeBron was that good that every single team he was on was going to make it to the finals, LeBron was at the peak of his powers as one of the best players who ever played basketball. Jason Tatum's really good. Jason Tatum is not what KD was in his prime, and he is not what Steph was in his prime, and Jaylen Brown is not that, and nobody else on that team is that, and he's certainly not LeBron in his prime. So why is this team given this inevitable status that they have not earned? Especially when they are, like, if the Boston Celtics were the best team in the East, nobody was touching them record-wise, and they weren't losing games to anybody like the Pistons, then okay, yeah, I get it. But there are 2 teams right now playing better basketball than Boston right now. The Cavs have split their series with Boston. Like, does Boston really deserve that respect after winning 1 championship? After like a 3-year run where we saw them lose to the Miami Heat, who weren't even that good of a team. Again, I get why the larger media folk around this want to, they're worried about ratings, so they want to make Boston the boogeyman. But don't anybody else feel like this is a bit premature for Boston to be in this spot? And you might say I'm hating because I'm a Cavs fan. I don't take the Boston Celtics lightly. I think they're a really damn good team. They're terrifying. They're going up 20 on the Cavs every time they've played them. They're the only team in the NBA capable of doing that. They are a serious championship contender. Nobody's doubting that. But they aren't inevitable, right? I don't feel hopeless going up against Boston in the way that, like, if this Cavs team had to go up against the KD Warriors, had to go up against the Bron Heat in his prime, I will feel a little bit more hopeless because I'm like, what we going to do about Bron? We got nothing. We got nothing. We're not going to withstand a 40-point Bron game the same way you could withstand a 40-point Jason Tatum game. It's two different levels of greatness. But anyways, let's continue.
Let me make sure that I'm understanding this. 4-2 in a series to a team that's going to beat them up. That's their floor. That's a real floor.
When have we seen
actual floor?
So if that's true, Swiper, when have we seen their floor?
I just saw him get mopped yesterday. I saw him get mopped.
So if you saw them get
floor, correct?
You did see them.
That's their floor, right?
Wait a minute,
their
Ross.
floor is they can get mopped up.
Let's stay right there, Moss, because if you seen them get mopped, you also saw them go into Cleveland and stop them.
So you know what's funny? You know what's funny, Chill? We haven't seen. And again, this is why.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yo, did he just? I think he just defined floor and ceiling. I think he just defined it unironically while also making an argument that requires a misunderstanding of the term floor and ceiling. Like, let's go back. Let's run that back. Let's see if he actually did what I think he did. Hold on.
I just saw him get mopped yesterday. I saw him get mopped.
So if you saw them get
floor, correct?
You did see them.
That's the floor, right?
Wait a minute,
the
Ross.
floor is they can get mopped up.
Let's stay right there, Moss, because if you seen them get mopped, you also saw them go into Cleveland and stop them.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny, Chill? We haven't seen. And again, this is why.
My man just defined the concept of floor and ceiling. He demonstrated the concept of floor and ceiling. That's crazy. While making an argument that, again, requires a vast misunderstanding of those concepts.
This is important to bring up because we haven't seen the Boston Celtics. I agree with you, Chill. I would pick them to go to the finals. I'm upset with your notion that the ceiling, I want you to hear how crazy you sound. The ceiling for the Cleveland Cavaliers is the conference finals. Yep. The floor for the Boston Celtics is making the finals. The reason why that's egregious is last year we didn't see the Boston Celtics play versus a real team in the Eastern Conference, period, the entire way up to the finals. So what I'm saying to you, if the run is different this year, what does that
even mean?
Because everybody was injured. They literally. Hold on, chill. Listen, I'm not even trying to. I'm not trying to relitigate. I'm just saying in the context of what we're saying right now. They did not face any healthy full team through the NBA Finals last year. Sure. So they ran through the East and West 16-3. That what I'm saying is they could do that again. I'm on your side. I would even say everybody versus the Thunder, they have a legitimate, I think real legitimate favorite shot to win any series. I agree. But saying that their floor is the finals, I think is also disrespectful to Cleveland, and also I think it lacks the context. There are teams in the East that could absolutely go body for body with the Boston Celtics at their very best. If the Celtics, for instance, the Celtics are going to shoot 48% of their shot profile from three this year. We again in the playoffs, we know they're going to do. Chill. Let's legitimately say they go on a stretch where 3 of those games they shoot sub 34% from three on crazy volume, and the other team feels good. They feel comfortable. Because they don't have any defender that can really get with them. Let's just pretend that happens. Of course, they can lose the series. Even however good you think Jason Tatum is, you've also said Jason Tatum is playing within a scheme. He's going to play within the scheme that he has been developed in and that the team's been developed in, and they don't make their jump shots, then what happens? So what I'm saying is I don't think that's a credit to everybody else in the East that's worked as hard as they've had to get up to this point, especially for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's what I'm saying.
You can work as hard as you possibly can, but in the end, if you're not better than somebody, you're just not better.
Cleveland's better than them.
So with what Cleveland has right now, and the way that they've been progressing, the year before they got Donovan Mitchell, which is where this started. When I was talking to Mars, which is where this started. The year before they got Donovan Mitchell, they were a play-in team. They get Donovan Mitchell. They get bounced in the first round. They lose to the Knicks. Last year, they advanced to the conference semifinals. They were hurt with Jared Allen, and Donovan Mitchell ended up going out, I believe, in game 5. But they did make progress. This season, they've been healthy for the most part. And with them being healthy, Evan Mobley has actually made a jump.
No, Sean, is he going to make an argument that the Cavs' success is limited to the conference final because you can only advance one round a year? Is this the argument he's making?
He's made a jump offensively and defensively. With him making that jump offensively and defensively, they've gotten much better. I need to see that transfer into the playoffs, which I don't think he's
Evan
there.
Mobley was good in the playoffs last year.
Chill. Can I ask you a question? How far do you think the Thunder? How far do you think the Thunder can go? Do you think the Thunder can win a championship?
Yeah, what's their floor and their ceiling?
I think the Thunder can get to the NBA championship. I don't think they can win it though. No.
Oh my gosh.
The same reason why I don't think they can. The same reason why.
Okay, but that's not their ceiling. Like again, it's not crazy to think Boston can win the finals this year. That's a very normal opinion. Like Boston has a great chance to win the finals this year. Nobody is arguing against that. But acting like Boston is the only team in the NBA that can win a NBA finals is a insane take. Like nothing can stop Boston from winning a finals. Nothing. This team that every time they miss a piece, Boston fans flood my comments and, oh, it didn't matter. We didn't have our most important player, Drew Holiday. Oh my God, it doesn't matter. Kristaps didn't play. It doesn't matter that Kristaps and Drew at this point in their career don't really play every game, and not guaranteed to play every game in the playoff series. But yeah, again, this Boston team that, again, people simultaneously tell me is inevitable. They're on an inevitable march to the NBA Finals. No team can compete with the great Boston Celtics. There's nothing. They're impenetrable. This team is bulletproof. But then they lose one player. You beat them while they don't have that one player. And next thing you know, oh, well, it's because we didn't have that one guy. Sounds like you're not bulletproof, right? Nobody's bulletproof. The Cavs aren't bulletproof. The Thunder aren't bulletproof. If the Cavs or the Thunder, knock on wood, hope it doesn't happen, hope everybody stays healthy, lose a player in the playoffs that's important to them, they're going to be significantly easier to eliminate. Now, if you don't want to factor in injuries to your floor or ceiling conversation, Boston still has fundamental flaws that can hurt them. See, the reason Boston has gone up 20 every time they play the Cavs is the same reason they have blown a 20-point lead every time they've played the Cleveland Cavaliers this year. It's because they shoot themselves out of games sometimes. You're telling me that Boston can't go cold? We haven't seen a team that shoots as many threes as Boston struggle in the playoffs before? Like we haven't watched the Rockets with James Harden his whole career do that to James Harden? You think that Jason Tatum is above that happening? Hell, you could make the argument that James Harden at that time and those Rocket teams at that time were better than this Celtics team. Well, I don't know if I go that far. I probably disagree with myself there. But you could make the argument that James Harden, at least individually as a player, is better than Jason Tatum was. Now, what they do in the playoffs, Jason Tatum's proven it more in the playoffs than James Harden had in that era. But yeah, no team's inevitable. And again, my beef isn't with Boston fans thinking that Boston's really good. Boston is really good. Boston is a true championship, obvious championship contender, and the biggest threat to repeat as champions this year. But they aren't inevitable. They aren't a dynasty. They aren't this battle-tested dynastic group that people make them out to be, like the Warriors were when they won that ring in 2021, right? After the dynasty or during the dynasty. This is not that. This is not peak Bron Heat. This is not peak Pop Spurs. This is not peak Kobe Bryant, right? Like, this is not that. But y'all keep trying to sell me that it's that. And I just don't buy it, right? This ain't Kobe and Shaq. This ain't Scotty and MJ. But you would swear that it's Scotty and MJ the way they be talking about the Celtics. That's my beat. Why are we acting like nobody else can compete with the Boston Celtics? Because they won one championship? Like, this is not that. This is not that. Hopefully that gets proven in the playoffs by the Cavs. But we'll see. Boston's a damn good team, so we'll see. But that's my reaction to this. This is the panel podcast that I've reacted to. I believe the YouTube channel name for them is Player's Choice. Again, let's bring back some descriptions to help this be a little bit cleaner. I don't want to disrespect nobody, call them out their name or nothing like that. I just want to react, talk ball. But y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.